The W14 is here with us, and we can all agree that the black livery is befitting. It's a clean and, dare I say, a sexy look. And if you're a Mercedes fan, your prayer is that it's as fast as it is beautiful. After a disappointing performance last year for Mercedes, we're all pretty much eager to see if the team's going to bounce back and find out how strong a contender the W14 is going to be in this season of Formula One. Keep watching the video to find out how the first on-track experience was with the W14. Mercedes have been dominant in this hybrid era, with 8 back-to-back wins in the Constructors' Championship. It is therefore no surprise that they were expected to perform well during the 2022 season, and as we all know, that wasn't the case, as the W13 proved to be a challenge for the drivers and the team. And with Red Bull and Ferrari bringing their A-games last year with great cars, the RB18 and F175 respectively, they saw the two teams fight fiercely in the championship battle. There was no chance for the W13 to win the championship. To put it simply, the 2022 season was a horrible year for Mercedes and their fans. The W13 was a hard-to-drive machine that suffered many problems, the most visible of which was porpoising, a phenomenon that made it bounce a lot on the tracks. The word became common on the grid last year and was an absolute nightmare for the Silver Arrows team. There were other teams that experienced it, some of whom were able to address the issue efficiently. For Mercedes, however, attempts to reduce porpoising brought about other problems. And there was simply no winning with the W13. Another issue with the car was heating. We saw and heard the team struggle to manage overheating in the cars, with both drivers being told to slow down the cars to avoid overheating, which is not something you probably want to hear when you're driving a Formula One car. The car also had an engine deficit that affected their straight-line speed, which was low when compared to the Red Bull car, as we witnessed on several occasions as the latter breezed past the W13 on the long straight stretches of the tracks. On the other hand, not all is lost for Mercedes in this 2023 season. The W14, which was launched on Wednesday, is said to feature major design changes that should deal with the last season's problems. There are changes in both the front and rear suspension, which should deal with their biggest issue yet, porpoising. In terms of cooling, the cooling outlet is placed higher, not only clearing a passage underneath for the suspension components, but also improving flow into the Coke bottle region and over the surfaces around the engine cover. There's additional help from cooling gills on the upper surface of the side pod and the engine cover shelf, both of which are able to be changed depending on the conditions faced at different tracks. The Zero Pod has been retained for the time being, but in a different form, as it's been redesigned to improve airflow passage into the rear of the car. Along with all of the other, big or small, visible or not, bodywork changes in the car, some of which cannot be disclosed for obvious reasons, the car will retain its core DNA, which sounds contradictory to what team principal Toto Wolff said last year, that they would be altering the DNA of the car in 2023. The W14 has a lot of expectations to live up to. With all of the problems experienced last year, one question is remaining. Are they going to be solved with this new car? Will we see it win races this year? Or is it another W13 in a different color? In truth, it's hard to predict what the performance of the W14 is going to be. The team spoke with caution when they expressed their hopes for the car, as they've yet to do proper testing, and they warned that they may not have the pace to catch up with Red Bull and Ferrari's cars. Speaking of the W14 launch, Wolff said, "Our hopes and expectations are always to be capable of fighting for a world championship. However, our competitors were very strong last year and we're playing catch-up. Racing at the front requires resilience, teamwork, and determination. We face up to every challenge. We put the team first, and we'll leave no stone unturned in the chase for every millisecond. This year, we're going all in to get back in front." Shortly after its launch, the W14 was taken out for a demonstration run, giving George Russell a chance to get in the car. The team didn't complete a full promotional event on Wednesday, amid speculation online that there was a technical issue with the engine misfiring, which would have been an awful start with the car given their bad performances with the W13. Ideally, they would want to start on a good note. The British driver, however, said that everything had run smoothly and that it was just great to get behind the wheel of the car and see the flesh. On Thursday, a day after its reveal, the car was taken out for a proper shakedown, and the two Mercedes drivers had a chance to run it on a cold and wet Silverstone national circuit. The track conditions were very different from what would be a hot and dry track in Bahrain for preseason testing and a season opener. The team used one of their allocated promotional days, normally known as filming days, of running with their current cars each year, which is basically a time to test out the cars before the pre-testing period and also get material for promotional purposes. During the shakedown, the team is restricted to driving a combined total of 100 kilometers, which is just about enough time to gather enough material to see if the car is mechanically sound and ensure that the drivers are comfortable in the car. The team drivers shared online video snippets of how the car looked on the track, bringing very much excitamente to many Mercedes fans who are hoping to see their team succeed this year, as most fans do, I imagine. It was surprisingly smooth. The drivers gave little away about their initial feelings about the car as the team tries to regain its former championship challenging form. The team gave a statement indicating that their allocated 100 kilometers of running time had been a success and no issues had been encountered. We had a solid start to the program for the W14. Conditions weren't great for filming or running, but we completed the permitted 100 kilometers without any issues, and both drivers have been able to give us a good assessment of their first impressions of the car, said Andrew Shovlin, the director of trackside engineering at Mercedes. Bahrain will be very different from a cold, wet Silverstone, but everything seems to be working well, so hopefully we can hit the ground running next week and maximize the 3 days of preseason testing, he added. Lewis Hamilton, who is gunning for his 8th World Championship title, had this to say about the filming day. It was great to get up and running with the W14. It's always a much anticipated moment for everyone at the factory who's been working so hard, and I'm incredibly grateful for all the effort that's gone in. Day's been smooth, and we've come away with some useful findings. I feel generally at ease in the car, and I'm excited to get going in Bahrain. George Russell, who delivered the only win for Mercedes last season in his debut season with the team, placed 4th on the Drivers' Championship, and he said, "It's great to get on the track with the W14. It was very cold and greasy out there today, but the car ran smoothly, and we completed all the laps that we were permitted to do. We know preseason testing will be the first real test of the car. Nevertheless, it looks great out there on the circuit, and the feeling from within the car so far is so good." Are they playing it safe with their words? Who knows? After all, it is Formula One. Even with challenging track conditions, which were limiting when it came to driving as well as filming, the drivers were able to get some time in with the car and complete the permitted laps. It was a very anticipated moment by the whole team, and as it was a culmination of all the hard work they put into the factory. And both drivers said that they were comfortable in the car and that the session went smoothly. The team was able to gain some data ahead of the testing period, establish a good program, and come away with some good and useful findings. From the look of things and what little we know, the W14 looks good, but only time will tell. Preseason testing is happening from February 23rd to 25th, and we'll get a more insightful peek into the W14's performance. Both drivers are excited to hit the ground in Bahrain, and so are we. So, how is the W14 performances in the race going to come out this year? Share with us your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, your optimisms, your pessimisms. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Stuff, I don't have a creative or clever way to say that. Generally, you need that nowadays. Maybe this'll work. Anyways, we'll be following the Formula One season, so come back for more updates. And until next time, ka-chow, my fellow race car drivers.